Okay folks, buckle up. Today on the Mysteria Archive, we dive into the mysteries of the Anunnaki. Were they ancient gods, alien visitors, or just powerful archetypes that shaped our past? Get ready for a wild ride. The sky splits open. A blazing orb streaks across the heavens. Not a comet, not a star, but a hidden world. Nibiru, the planet of the gods. From its fiery path descend beings of impossible scale. The Nephilim, towering giants, stride across the earth, their shadows swallowing villages whole. Above them, the Watchers descend from the clouds, their wings of fire teaching mankind forbidden knowledge, metallurgy, astronomy, magic. And, carved into brittle Sumerian clay, the story is written, the Anunnaki, not just gods, but masters, demanding gold, enslaving mortals, and ruling the cradle of civilization with power no human could resist. But then, they vanished. Their temples crumbled, their secrets scattered. So, who were they? Myth, gods, aliens, or something far more dangerous? Tonight, we unravel the story of the Anunnaki and ask the question that's haunted humanity for 5,000 years. Did they create us, or do they still control us? Okay, I know what you're thinking. That sounded like a trailer for the next Marvel movie. Giants, alien gods, secret planets. It's wild, right? And that's exactly why the story of the Anunnaki keeps showing up in conspiracy circles, books, YouTube videos, and late-night radio shows. It's cinematic by design. But here's the catch. Almost everything you've heard about the Anunnaki comes from modern reinterpretations of ancient texts, especially the work of Zecharia Sitchin in the 1970s. And while Sitchin painted the Anunnaki as aliens mining Earth for gold, scholars say his translations are, well, let's be kind and call them creative. So, let's take a step back, strip away the tinfoil, and look at what the Sumerians themselves actually wrote. Because their story is strange enough without any help. The Sumerian Origins. Long before Rome, before Egypt, before even the pyramids, there was Sumer. In the fertile lands between the Tigris and the Euphrates, the world's first civilization took root. And with it came writing, astronomy, law, and, of course, gods. Among these gods were the Anunnaki. The name roughly translates to the princely offspring, or those of royal blood. In the Sumerian worldview, they weren't abstract deities floating above the clouds. They were real, tangible beings who governed the world and humanity. In texts like the Enuma Elish, the Atrahasis, and the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Anunnaki appear as cosmic organizers. They assign duties to other gods, decide the fate of humans, and even play roles in the underworld. Some are linked to creation itself, shaping mankind out of clay to bear the labor the gods no longer wanted. But here's where it gets interesting. The Anunnaki weren't a single unified pantheon. Depending on the tablet, they're described as judges of the dead, advisors to the great gods, or rebellious figures challenging authority. Their identities shift, as if even the Sumerians weren't entirely sure who or what they were dealing with. Archaeologists and scholars see them as mythological constructs, personifications of natural forces and social hierarchies. But imagine being a farmer in 3000 BC, staring at the stars each night, believing those lights were the homes of gods who could shape your destiny. The Anunnaki weren't just stories, they were explanations for why the rivers flooded, why kings ruled, and why humans suffered. So, before we start talking aliens, lost planets, or genetic engineering, let's remember, the earliest story of the Anunnaki is the story of gods walking with man, weaving myth and reality together in the dawn of civilization. Alright, so, in the original Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki weren't exactly alien overlords mining gold with laser beams. They were gods, sometimes scary, sometimes bureaucratic, always a little confusing. Think less Independence Day and more divine HR department assigning jobs to other gods. But you can see why modern conspiracy writers jumped on this stuff. Clay tablets talk about beings who create humanity to do their work. That's like the ancient version of a dystopian sci-fi plot. Now, whether the Sumerians were describing cosmic truths or just trying to make sense of floods and famines, that's up for debate. But the idea that humans were designed for labor, that's a theme that's going to come back again and again in this story. Enter the Nephilim and Watchers. As the story of the Anunnaki spread beyond Sumer, echoes of similar beings began appearing in other ancient traditions. In the Hebrew Bible, there's a strange and haunting passage. There were giants in the earth in those days. These were the Nephilim, described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. In other words, divine beings mixing with humanity, creating hybrids that were bigger, stronger, and maybe even dangerous. Then there's the Book of Enoch, a text excluded from most versions of the Bible, but treasured in certain circles. In it, we meet the Watchers, angels sent to guide humanity who, according to the story, broke their heavenly vows. They descended, married human women, and shared forbidden knowledge, metallurgy, weapon-making, sorcery, even the art of reading the stars. Sound familiar? It's the same themes we see in the Sumerian myths about the Anunnaki. Supernatural beings, knowledge too advanced for the time, and the uneasy idea that humanity's progress wasn't entirely our own. Were these stories connected? Some scholars say yes, that oral traditions move between cultures, with myths evolving but retaining the same archetypal figures. Others say it's coincidence, that human imagination naturally invents stories of giants and sky beings because we've always looked upward for answers. But in fringe circles, the parallels aren't coincidence at all. They are evidence. The Anunnaki, the Nephilim, the Watchers, all different names for the same mysterious visitors. Visitors who may have shaped the course of civilization, only to vanish, leaving fragments of their legacy behind in myths and sacred texts. Okay, so here's the fun part. If you line up the Anunnaki, the Nephilim and the Watchers, you basically get the ancient version of the Avengers. Superpowered beings, hybrid offspring, secret knowledge, and of course, a lot of trouble. But the overlap is what keeps people hooked. It's not just one culture saying, yeah, some giant sky beings came down and taught us stuff. It's multiple cultures across different regions and centuries, all telling a version of the same thing. Now, is that because it really happened or because humans everywhere love a good giants and gods story? It's hard to say. But either way, it gives you that weird feeling in your gut, like maybe all these myths are puzzle pieces and the picture they form is bigger than we think. Zecharia Sitchin and the alien Thesis. Fast forward to the 1970s, and a man named Zecharia Sitchin takes these ancient myths and gives them a radical new spin. In his book, The 12th Planet, Sitchin argued that the Anunnaki weren't gods at all. They were extraterrestrials, flesh and blood beings from a rogue planet called Nibiru. According to Sitchin, Nibiru follows a vast elliptical orbit that brings it close to Earth every few thousand years. When the Anunnaki arrived, he claimed they weren't here to inspire mankind. They were here to mine Earth's resources, specifically gold. Why gold? Oh, in Sitchin's telling, they need it to repair their planet's atmosphere. But the Anunnaki didn't want to dig. So Sitchin said they created us, using genetic engineering. They modified early humans into a workforce. In other words, we're the product of an alien science experiment. It's a bold claim, and mainstream scholars push back hard. Linguists argue that Sitchin mistranslated key Sumerian words. Archaeologists point out that no Sumerian tablet mentions Nibiru as a planet, let alone a race of space miners. And yet, the idea caught fire. Because, whether you believe it or not, it fits neatly into the mystery. It explains why so many myths talk about gods creating humans to labor. It explains the obsession with gold in ancient cultures. And it answers the question, why are there uncanny jumps in human evolution? So, were we handcrafted by gods, by nature, or by someone who arrived from the stars? Sitchin's theory basically turned dusty old tablets into the script for the best sci-fi movie never made. Aliens for a hidden planet show up, design humanity as a labour force, and then skip town. Sounds insane, but also kind of neat, right? Now, academics roll their eyes at this stuff. And to be fair, Sitchin's translations were a little bit like using Google Translate after 3 glasses of wine. But here's why people still love it. It makes sense. It ties myths together, explains weird gaps in our history, and gives us a cosmic origin story. Is it true? Well, probably not in the way Sitchin described. But as a story, it's irresistible. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Suddenly, every myth about gods creating mankind feels a little less mythical. The Nibiru Apocalypse and Planet X. Once Zecharia Sitchin introduced the idea of Nibiru in the late 20th century, the story took on a life of its own. In Fringe circles, this wasn't just another distant world, it became a ticking time bomb. The claim? But one day, this mysterious planet would swing back through the inner solar system, and when it did, chaos would follow. By the 1980s and 90s, whispers of Nibiru's return began spreading. Some said it was the hidden cause of ancient mass extinctions. Others claimed its gravitational pull could tilt Earth's axis, trigger megaquakes, even wipe out civilization. Then came 2012. Remember the Mayan calendar panic? And while some were stockpiling canned beans, others were scanning the skies, convinced Nibiru was about to appear like a thief in the cosmic night. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Or, if you're more conspiratorially inclined, maybe it did, and the powers that be simply covered it up. But here's where things get intriguing. Now, while NASA laughs off Nibiru as fake science, astronomers have been seriously hunting for something eerily similar. Planet 9, a hypothetical giant planet lurking at the edge of our solar system, tugging on the orbits of icy bodies far beyond Pluto. No telescope has spotted it yet, but the math suggests something massive is out there, which raises a question. Did Sitchin stumble onto a myth that accidentally echoes real astronomy, or is it just coincidence that a fringe theory about a rogue world overlaps with modern scientists whispering there may be a missing planet on the edge of our reality? Okay, real talk. If I had $1 for every doomsday date linked to Nibiru, I could probably buy my own rogue planet by now. 2003, 2012, 2017. At this point, Nibiru is running later than my Amazon deliveries. But here's the twist. Astronomers actually are looking for a giant planet way out past Pluto. They don't call it Nibiru, and they definitely don't say it's run by gold mining aliens, but basic idea? Kinda similar. So, maybe Sitchin tapped into a story that resonated because we humans love imagining hidden worlds. Either way, it's wild that an idea from a 1970s paperback still has people scanning the skies in 2025. Not bad for a theory most scientists roll their eyes at, right? Forbidden knowledge and human origins. Beyond planets and gold mines, the most unsettling thread in this Annunaki story is the idea of forbidden knowledge. In the Book of Enoch, the Watchers hand humanity secrets of metallurgy and sorcery. In Sumerian myths, the gods teach writing, astronomy, and laws. And, according to Fringe theorists, this wasn't just divine generosity, it was intervention. The Anunnaki didn't just guide human progress, they may have been tinkering with it. The claim goes like this. Faced with hard labour, they took early hominids and upgraded them. Genetic shortcuts. The leap from ape to Homo sapiens wasn't natural selection, it was alien selection. It's the kind of idea that makes evolutionary biologists groan, but it does explain why our brains exploded in capacity while other primates stayed the same. Even mainstream archaeology admits something remarkable happened in Mesopotamia. Seemingly out of nowhere, humans developed agriculture, cities, math, astronomy, and the wheel. Civilization didn't crawl, it sprinted. Were the Anunnaki behind this leap, or did ancient peoples encode their own progress as divine gifts? Because in nearly every myth, knowledge comes at a cost. Prometheus steals fire and is punished. The Watchers teach forbidden arts and are cast into darkness. In the Sumerian stories, the Anunnaki create humans, but always with strings attached. The pattern suggests something powerful. When humans take the next step, it feels so unnatural, so impossible, we don't give ourselves credit. We say, the gods gave it to us, or, in the conspiracy version, aliens reprogrammed us. You've got to admit, aliens upgraded our DNA is one of the most flattering conspiracy theories out there. Forget billions of years of evolution. Nope, we're all special because interstellar visitors decided to hack our genes. Thank you, space dads. Now, I'm not saying humanity didn't earn its stripes. Farming, writing, inventing the wheel, that's impressive stuff. But it's also kind of suspicious how quickly it all happened. One century you're hitting rocks together, and the next you're building ziggurats and writing laws. Was it divine inspiration, alien intervention, or just caffeine-fueled innovation? Well, we'll probably never know, but it's fun to imagine that the next time you forget your phone charger, you can blame the Anunnaki for not upgrading us with wireless charging brains. Power, control, and suppression. If the Anunnaki really did walk among humans, one thing is certain. They didn't present themselves as equals. They were rulers, kings, judges, beings who demanded obedience. These Sumerian stories describe them not only as creators, but as enforcers of order. Humans were made to serve, while the Anunnaki held the power. And here's where the conspiracy deepens. What if these myths weren't just about supernatural gods? What if they were about real rulers, early elites, who cloaked themselves in divine authority? In this view, the Anunnaki weren't cosmic beings, but symbols of a system where knowledge and power were concentrated in the hands of a few. But the Fringe perspective goes further. The Anunnaki never left. Their bloodlines, some say, continued throughout ancient kings, dynasties, and perhaps even today's global elites. Every coronation, every oath of divine right echoes that same idea. But humanity needs rulers who claim authority from the heavens. And then there's the pattern of suppression. Sacred texts excluded from the Bible, ancient libraries burned, artifacts locked away in basements of museums. Why does so much of human history feel missing? To some, this is deliberate. Knowledge that could free us has been hidden, while narratives that keep us obedient are amplified. Were the Anunnaki real beings enforcing their rule, or metaphors for a system of control that stretches across time? Either way, the result is the same. Stories that remind us how easily humans surrender freedom when told the gods demand it. Okay, so this is where things start sounding less like ancient history and more like the trailer for every dystopian Netflix series ever. Powerful elites, divine authority, missing knowledge. It's basically Game of Thrones with clay tablets. But here's the funny thing. Even if you strip away the aliens, the pattern still works. History is full of rulers who've said, hey, I've got a direct line to the gods, so maybe hand over your crops. It's the oldest scam in the book. Now, are modern elites really descendants of the Anunnaki? Well, that's a leap. But the idea that knowledge has been suppressed, well, that's a story humanity tells over and over. Whether it's scrolls, hard drives, or lost civilizations, we've always believed someone out there knows more than we're allowed to. Archetypes across time. Step back and a strange pattern emerges. The Anunnaki aren't alone. Across cultures and centuries, we find echoes of their story. The Nephilim and Watchers in Hebrew texts. The Olympians and Titans in Greek mythology. The fallen angels of Christian lore. Even Hindu devas and asuras battling in cosmic wars. Different names, different details, but the same recurring characters. Sky beings, hybrids, forbidden knowledge, rulers who blur the line between God and human. So, what does this mean? Were all these civilizations independently inventing the same story? Or were they remembering the same truth in different languages? Psychologists point to archetypes, shared symbols buried deep in the human mind. Gods descending from the sky, humans receiving knowledge, giants roaming the earth. These are powerful images that resonate across time. They're less about history and more about the way humans explain the unknown. But the Fringe interpretation? That's simpler. These aren't just archetypes, they're case files. Different cultures describing encounters with the same beings, remembered and mythologized through their own traditions. The Anunnaki may not just be Sumerian gods, but one chapter in a larger global story, a story of contact with something not entirely human. And maybe that's why the Anunnaki endure, because whether you believe in aliens, archetypes, or ancient rulers, the story always comes back to the same haunting possibility. We've never been alone in writing our own history. Here's the thing. Once you start connecting these myths, it feels like you're building an ancient Marvel cinematic universe. Same characters, different costumes. Giants in Mesopotamia, fallen angels in Judea, Titans in Greece. At some point you wonder, coincidence or sequel? And of course, psychologists say we're just hardwired to make up the same stories. Sky gods, forbidden knowledge, hybrid beings. They hit the sweet spot of human imagination, but if you're in the conspiracy camp, it's obvious. Everyone's talking about the same visitors. They just branded them differently. Either way, it explains why the Anunnaki still fascinate us. They're not just a myth, they are part of a bigger human obsession. The idea that we were shaped by powers far greater than ourselves. The unfinished story. The tale of the Anunnaki doesn't end neatly on a broken tablet in the ruins of Sumer. It lingers, reshaping itself across cultures, resurfacing in myths and re-emerging in modern conspiracies. Were they gods who descended to rule? Aliens who mined our planet and moulded us to serve? Or archetypes, timeless symbols that humanity projects onto the unknown? The truth is slippery, but that may be why the story endures. In Mesopotamia, the Anunnaki were keepers of cosmic order. In Hebrew tradition, they echo as Watchers and Nephilim. In Greek lore, they reappear as Titans. Today, they're woven into theories of ancient astronauts and secret elites. Each age retells a story in its own language, but the core remains. Humanity has always sensed we are not entirely alone, and perhaps that's the real mystery. The Anunnaki may not be waiting on a hidden planet or lurking in ancient bloodlines, but their shadow stretches across time. They are the reminder that our past is incomplete, that our origins may hold more than science or scripture can explain. So, the story continues, not finished, not forgotten. A question still hanging in the night sky. Did we invent the Anunnaki, or did they invent us? Alright, so here's the kicker. The Anunnaki might be the ultimate cliffhanger. Every culture that touches the story seems to add a new twist, but never the final page. Are they aliens? Gods? Just really creative metaphors? Nobody knows. But maybe that's the point. Some mysteries are more powerful unsolved. And honestly, if the Anunnaki are watching us right now, they've probably got popcorn and a bingo card for how many versions of their story we'll come up with. One thing's for sure, this unfinished story keeps us asking questions, and that's what keeps it alive. Now, if you're one of the lucky few to have the hype button below, please smash it 3 times and it will help boost this video. I'd really appreciate it as we're trying to chase down 100,000 subs. Now, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this one. And don't forget to let me know in the comments below of videos you would like to see next. Okay, my friends, until next time, be safe and stay curious.